They say the river speaks, not with words, no, but with the silence that follows. My name is Obinna. I was born in Umuokoro, a village carved between ancient trees and the whispers of Nne Miri, the river goddess no one dared name after sunset. Our elders told stories, not to entertain, but to warn. As a boy, I thought them mere tales. I was wrong, because the river remembers. Every Nkwo market night, we gathered by the fire. Papa, a man of few words, would speak of the woman who walked into the river and never returned, of the boy who laughed at Nne Miri and woke up speaking in riddles. But there was one tale even Papa never told in full, the curse. Some things are not for children's ears, he would say. Yet even at 10, I knew it was not just a tale. It was truth wrapped in silence. I was 17 when the river first called my name. I had gone to tap palm wine, but as I passed the river, I heard it, a soft hum, like a woman singing from beneath the water. I froze. My calabash slipped from my hand. Obinna, my name, in a voice I had never heard before, yet somehow knew. I ran, and never told a soul. 3 moons later, the village market was buzzing, not with trade, but fear. A woman had returned. Ada, the widow of the old hunter, missing for 20 years, walked back into Umuokoro barefoot and silent. She looked untouched by time, yet broken. When asked where she'd been, she pointed to the river and said, I was waiting. That night, I could not sleep. The whispers were louder, not just from the river, but from inside me. Something pulled me to the old path, the one we were forbidden to take. There, behind the strangler figs and termite hills, I found it, a shrine, forgotten, covered in bloodless feathers, ochre, and bones, the statue of a woman, eyes weeping into a bowl, Nne Miri, and at the base, carved in old insipidity, he who drinks her tears will awaken what sleeps. I confessed. I told the elders what I saw, what I heard, what I felt. The oldest among them, Dibia Uzu, slapped the ground with his staff. Foolish boy, he thundered. You stirred what we buried generations ago. Another elder murmured, we told them not to name their sons Obinna again. I didn't understand, but the way they looked at me, like I was not myself anymore. That night, the river bled. Frogs croaked and fell dead. Chickens screamed. Palms swayed violently without wind. And the water turned thick, red, like palm oil mixed with blood. People ran. I stood still, because I could hear her again, louder this time. You drank. Now remember. In my dreams, I saw fire. A village drowned. A woman buried alive while the elders chanted over her. I awoke to find insipidity symbols etched onto my wall, ones I had never drawn. I tried to scream, but my voice was no longer mine. Ada came to me. You opened the bowl, she said. She's awake now. Who? I asked. Nne Miri, the goddess. She smiled, a smile not quite human. No, she whispered, not the goddess. The girl they tried to drown, and the truth they tried to bury. I don't know who I'm anymore. Obinna, son of Afika, or the echo of someone long dead, reborn to finish what they started. I feel her, inside me, watching, waiting. And tonight, I'm going into the river, to remember, or to drown trying. Days after his mother's haunting tale, Obinna couldn't sleep. He returned to his late grandfather's hut, rummaging through dust and cobwebs. Beneath a forgotten clay pot, he found a scroll, delicate with age, ink faded, but legible. It wasn't just a diary, it was a confession that the villagers of Umwaya had silenced for generations. The diary named her, Nne Miri, not just a spirit, but a woman once wronged, banished, cursed, and drowned in the sacred river. Her soul, bound by vengeance, had become something far more terrifying than the elders dared to recall. Guided by the diary, Obinna ventured into the jungle, alone. There, the abandoned shrine to Allah, the goddess of the earth, stood silent. But inside, something whispered, not words, but feelings, cold, dread, betrayal. As night fell, the river boiled with unrest. The wind carried voices of the old, some mourning, others warning. The curse was not just vengeance, it was a balance disrupted. Blood had not been paid. Obinna confronted the council. Silence thickened the air. Then Eldon Nwachukwu finally spoke. "We betrayed her," he whispered. "We sacrificed her to appease the gods during the drought. But she was not chosen by the gods. She was chosen by us." Shaken, Obinna returned home. That night, he dreamt of drowning. As he woke in a cold sweat, he saw it, the mark, glowing faintly on his back, the sign of the water-bearer, a sign that he was next. "You must leave," his mother pleaded. "The river chose you because it remembers you are her blood." Obinna was stunned. His great-grandmother was Nne Miri, cast out, drowned, reborn as legend. Drawn by something he couldn't explain, Obinna stood before the river, the same river that had taken so many. The waters glowed, swirling with light. And then she rose, a figure of mist and water, her eyes hollow yet burning. She spoke without words. A choice: drink and become her voice. Deny, and the village would suffer again. Obinna hesitated, but the river had waited long enough. As the liquid touched his lips, his mind shattered. Visions of the truth flooded him. The betrayal, the rage, the truth. Nne Miri's wrath was not vengeance alone. It was justice, and now it would be his burden. When he looked into the river again, it wasn't his face he saw. It was hers, and her eyes whispered a question he wasn't ready to answer. Would you drown the guilty if they were your own blood? The morning after the ritual, Obinna awoke feeling both foreign and familiar. The river no longer frightened him. It whispered. It remembered everything. And now, so did he. Nne Miri lived inside him, but he was not lost. Not yet. Each night, the river showed him more, how she was wrongfully accused, dragged by her own kin, bound in chains forward by fear, and cast into the sacred waters. Her spirit didn't die. It festered, waiting for justice, through him. Nature turned. The river refused offerings. The crops wilted. The people grew desperate. They came to Obinna, begging for prayers, unaware of the spirit stirring behind his eyes. Nne Miri had waited generations for her voice. It was time to speak. At the village square, Obinna spoke, not as a man, but as memory incarnate. He recited names, crimes, lies. Elders wept. The truth of the sacrifice was laid bare. But the river demanded more than truth. It demanded balance. Thunder cracked like drums of war. The river swelled, taking back what it once gave. Obinna raised his arms, and the water obeyed. Not all were punished, only the bloodlines that betrayed her. Screams echoed beneath the waves. Obinna was torn. Nne Miri's pain was righteous, but the innocent suffered too. He journeyed deep into the forest, to the shrine of Allah, begging the goddess of the earth for guidance. Could justice be served without more blood? In a vision, he faced them both. One promised peace through restoration. The other, closure through destruction. Both were just, but only one could prevail. Obinna chose neither, and both. He offered himself to the river, not as a sacrifice, but as its keeper. For years, the river ran calm. Prosperity returned. But in the hearts of the people, fear lingered. They remembered, and that was enough. Years later, a child walked alone to the river. She whispered to it, and it whispered back. Her mother called, but the girl smiled, eyes glowing faintly. Obinna had calmed the river, but spirits don't die. They wait, and in every generation, they choose. Who do you think the river will choose next?